Hey everyone, I hope you're having a good one today, and I wanted to give you my spoiler-free review of Star Wars Aftermath by Chuck Wendig, the first book in the Aftermath trilogy, which is kind of the new canon replacement, kind of, for the Thrawn trilogy. At least that's how it was seen when it was released back in November. No, not November. Excuse me. I think it was September 2015. Um, this book was met with mixed reviews. I think that the majority of the fan base was expecting a big four: Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie sort of story, something a bit more grand than what we got. And I think that they were expecting it to also take place more than a few months after Return of the Jedi, like it did. Um, but this book took some risks, a lot of risks, and while the main storyline it does have galactic consequences, it's not necessarily quite as grand, and you only get little tiny snippets of what Han and Leia are up to, and nothing about Luke or um, and tiny bit about Mon Mothma too. Now that I think about it, there's probably more Mon Mothma than anything else when it comes to major movie characters, as it were. But we get a whole new cast of characters, both uh, good guys and bad guys. We have Nora Wexley, who is a Y-wing pilot that fought at the Battle of Endor. You can actually see her Y-wing peeling off during the attack, or during the sequence as they're flying into the second Death Star. You've got her son, Temmin Wexley, her son's bodyguard droid, murder bot droid, Mr. Bones, Jazamari, who is a Zabrak bounty hunter, a little bit of John Burrell, who's like this New Republic commando type kind of guy, and Sinjir, uh, Rasvidas, I believe. My favorite character by far in this book. Yeah, he is phenomenal. I love Sinjir. They're pitted against the Imperial Future Council, um, which is put together by Admiral Ray Salone, and also includes Grand Moff Pandion and General Shale, who's kind of a military strategist, a banker named Crassus, and advisor to Shu, who's kind of this, worshiper of the Sith kind of stuff. Overall, like I said earlier, the story is underwhelming and a little bit weak in a lot of ways. The main story of this is, yeah, it's a little bit weak. It's very meandering and kind of, it all takes place on this one outer rim planet that we've never heard of before, named Akiva, which is Nora's and Temmin's home planet, by the way. And it's, you have lots of, there's another villain, by the way, Surat Nuat, who's like this crime lord kind of guy, and he's kind of a secondary villain, going after Temmin for something. And the fact that that character had to be there, I think, is testament to how busy this book is. I think that this book, the first book in this trilogy, it wasn't really set up to be its own story. It's set up to do nothing but set up those characters, these new characters that Chuck Wendig created and wants to put into Life Debt and Empire's End, into our heads so that then we can start using them. That's primarily what he's after, I think, with this first book. It was more of a prequel that kind of sets up what happens in Life Debt and Empire's End. I guess another downside to this book is some of the, because of his writing style, I'll concentrate on his writing style first. His writing style is in the third person, but present tense, as opposed to the traditional third person past tense that most novels are written in. This leads to an extremely frantic pace while you're reading it, which it's really a love it or hate it sort of thing in print form. I personally couldn't really deal with it in print form, but it's amazing in audiobook form, especially since that it's narrated by Mark Thompson, who's a phenomenal narrator. He did the Thrawn trilogy and a whole ton of the old books too. And it's amazing in audiobook form. It's just a little bit too jarring. And for an example, by the way, in between the two, different writing styles, a typical novel would be written as Temmin gets hit, or Temmin got hit. Temmin got hit in the back of the head, and then he exclaimed, "Ow!" In Chuck Wendig's writing style, it's Temmin gets hit in the back of the head, "Ow!" in quotation marks. That's kind of the sort of pacing that you get, and that pacing is slowed down by some of the analogies that he uses. His analogies are kind of meandering and very. They sort of. They don't really fit the scene. For example, A New Republic soldier. I'm not sure if this is. I think this is during the main storyline. It might be inside of one of the interludes. Where this Republic soldier is facing off with this very, very green, very timid Imperial. And the New Republic soldier goes, "Well, we, you're like, what was it? Darn it. You're like a newborn, whatever. Can't even remember the name of the animal. Calf. Yeah, you never heard of those? I grew up on a farm of them. Their meat is stringy, but their milk tastes sweet. And their children, their little cubwings, are foolish and dumb. They walk off of cliffs and such, and that's exactly what you are." It completely grinds that fast-paced writing style to a halt. There's a few too many Earth terms too thrown in there. There's a like tea kettle, and I think fridge is mentioned, like a refrigerator. And the the biggest sin of this book is definitely the fact that space diapers, the term space diapers, is used seriously in an unjoking manner twice in like one paragraph. I Yeah. I was asked if I was okay at work when I first listened to that a year and a half ago, because I just went, "Oh, really? Space diapers? Are you serious?" Yeah, that's the biggest issue with this. But there are a lot of good things. The interludes are amazing, especially for super involved fans like myself. I really enjoyed all of the connective tissues and the like interesting little tidbits that we're getting in these interludes. Like, ooh, what are the acolytes of beyond? Or, ooh, what does that mean? Does that mean, is that a setup for life debt because of the name of the thing? Because they're talking about life debts and stuff. I wonder what. Ooh, is that hinting at a Boba Fett movie? Maybe. Oh, I wonder if that's what. And that's what every single interlude did for me. It always made me go, "Ooh, what's this about?" And they're not super long. The interludes are just kind of like meanwhiles. Uh, Meanwhile on Alderaan, or not Alderaan, but meanwhile on the station in the Alderanian system. Meanwhile over on Chandrilla. Meanwhile over on Tatooine, whatever. And it's just this tiny little, it's usually less than half of a chapter in length, half of a normal chapter in length. And there's probably, I want to say probably about in between a dozen to 20 of these interludes sprinkled throughout the book. And they're good breaks for the very fast paced um, writing style that it helps to keep you to slow down from concentrating too much on that main storyline. And I enjoyed pretty much every single one of those interludes except for the one that mentioned space diapers. Anyways, the action scenes when they're not bogged down by those weird kind of rambling uh, analogies and examples are done really well. The action scene, like, because of how fast paced the writing style makes you listen and or read whatever you're consuming, you you actually, for me at least, it got me more into the action scenes. Like, there's one point when a character is like trying to pole vault from one thing to another thing, and this and for like probably a solid paragraph that's like, 6 or 7 pages long, or pages 6 or 7 lines long. It's just this character, you know carrying a pole, going, oh, this is stupid, why am I doing this to him, why am I doing this is stupid, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I don't want to die, God, this is stupid, you're gonna die, don't do this, brah. And then he, does his thing, and there is some ludicrous stuff like happen, like pole vaulting from, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, from a building to a ship. Okay, that's a little ridiculous. A droid, some of the things that Mr. Bones does is just, it goes to the point of ridiculous. But that's Star Wars for me. I love the ridiculous crap. I love seeing the nuttiness and borderline cheesiness that we get in a lot of our action scenes in Star Wars, and this book definitely delivers on that. Um, let's see here. I think that's about it. I wouldn't say that this book is a good novel. Like I said, the stories are weak. Some of the characters are a little bit annoying. Not Pelion, Pandion. I love Pelion from Legends. Pandion. I. We'll get to that in the spoiler review, which is going to be uploaded just after this one. Um, I think that Chuck Wendig did a good job of introducing the characters mostly, for Life Debt and Empire's End. I would recommend picking this up on audiobook. That's just how I intended to enjoy it the most. Just the writing style really complements audiobooks and kind of wrecks the written format, in my opinion. Um, and again, I wouldn't say that this is a good book. I'm saying that this is a fun book. If you get my meaning. Fun being, it's still enjoyable. The movie Fifth Element, put it that way. It's not necessarily a good movie, but you still watch it because it's fun. It's the same sort of thing with this book, Aftermath. But anyways, I guess that's all I've really got to say on it, at least a non-spoilery review. I'm definitely going to be uploading a spoiler review where I'm talking about more in depth the things that I really loved and the things that I didn't really love. Pandion. Um, and yeah, so I would love to know your thoughts on this book too. Be aware there might be spoilers down there if you head down there, but you can always follow me over on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Also, probably the best place to get a hold of me is the Twitch streams every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the United States. But thank you guys so much for your time. Thanks for listening to me go crazy over this book, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one or over on one of the Twitch streams.